Y'all, what's up? How are we doing today? Today, we're just going to do an old-fashioned book tag. There's no prompter, there's no script. We're just gonna dig into this book tag. The only rule is I have to use the books on my shelf. If that interests you, let's get into it. Our first tag is how many books are too many books in a series? I'm thinking C, because I like series that have a lot of books, like the Riley Page series. That's not the first one. The Riley Page series, this book has double-digit numbers of book in the series, and then also by Blake Pierce. It's called the Jesse Hunt series. I'm on book 24 in that book. But if I'm thinking about a book or what's too many books in a series, I think my comfort zone is like 5. I know some people like duologies or trilogies. I think my comfort zone is like 5 because I really love following the character. And that's why, like Riley Page and Jesse Hunt, like I'm at book 12 and at book 24 and all that, because I really love following the character along through, and not so much of the series nowadays where each book in the series is based off of a different character, you know? Okay, that's better. Okay, tag 2. How do you feel about cliffhangers? As a reader, I don't like them. I don't like cliffhangers. I don't mind cliffhangers if the book's already out. As a reader, I guess that's just the impatience in me, just like all readers, like we're impatient. As a writer, and I'm a new writer, my audience isn't that big, so I get nervous. I get nervous with cliffhangers, because is the audience going to come back, right? And a cliffhanger can be written well that gets you itching and wanting more. But me as an indie author, especially with 2 genres, if I just wrote that book, there's like a 20% chance that the next manuscript I'm working on is then that next book in the series and not another book or another genre that I'm writing. So as a reader, I don't really like them. I get impatient. If it's a full series and I can just jump to the next one, then that's fine. As a writer, I see the need and the importance of a cliffhanger. And if you really have an audience who's hanging on to what you're saying, that's excellent. Question 3. Hardback or paperback? I prefer paperbacks. And for the simple fact that hardbacks are more expensive. I know why they're more expensive. The expense is justified, yeah, but I prefer paperbacks just for that simple reason. My favorite book. I think I'm gonna pick 3. My top 3 favorite books right now. A book and not an individual author. Let's go with 1. Delicious Monster. Y'all, this book, y'all, the cover interested me. I ordered it, borrowed it on Libby. The cover interested me. And then as I'm reading, I fell in love. I don't read a lot of horror because horror books don't scare me because it's a book. I don't know what's about that. I just don't get scared by the book. So I kind of stay away from the genre. I didn't know that this was a horror because the only reason I borrowed this because that the cover really interested me, right? And I fell in love. This is one of my, I don't think I gave it 5 stars. I think I gave it like 4.75 or something like that. Let me pull up Let me pull up my review. I'm going to pull it up on Storygraph. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. It's a dual POV with a past and present, which was really cool. It was a horror fantasy book about a girl who can see ghosts in a magical haunted mansion. The main character, whose name is Daisy, was a girl who can. The main character really sometimes made me love her, and then sometimes she made me hate her. I ended up not really liking the mother at the end, but on the other side, Brittany's arc was really good. I'm glad that they gave her that arc, and she wasn't just there to tell the story in the present. The twist at the end, because this is a spoiler, was interesting. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that twist to come, and I really enjoyed that book. How this book is set up is that there's Daisy in the past and Brittany in the present. And Brittany and her friend have a YouTube channel where they are like trying to figure out, what's the thing called? It's called like Forgotten Black Girls, something like that, where they are now investigating and interviewing people related to Daisy and what happened to Daisy and everything like that. So it jumps back and forth between Brittany's present POV and Daisy's past POV. This was a good read. Loved it. So this is one of my favorite. Okay, books. So my top 3 favorite books. So right now, this was hard, y'all. This was hard. So I have 3 though. The first one we already talked about, Delicious Monsters. The second one, Never Saw Me Coming. I read this book last year. Y'all, I'm going to read y'all the inside. This is a 5-star book from last year. You should never trust a psychopath, but what if you had no choice? It would be easy to underestimate Chloe. She was a freshman honor student, a legging-wearing hot girl next door who also happens to be a psychopath. She spends her time on yoga lattes, frat parties, and plotting to kill Will Bachman, a childhood friend who grievously wronged her. So let me tell you about this girl, Chloe. If I was her in college and she's a psychopath, she knows she's a psychopath. She knows she's a psychopath. And the only reason that she is at the school doing this stuff is to get at old dude Will. That's the only reason that she's doing all this stuff, is to get at Will. And so it's in, I think, is it in first person POV? No, it's in third person. It's in third person POV. But when you're in third person Chloe, y'all, just the nonchalance, it's like the author did an excellent job just having you think that you were reading like a grocery list. Like, the stuff is happening and like you're not feeling the suspense or the thriller or any of that, because Chloe's not feeling any of that. And the excellent book. She goes through, she has a mission. I'm not going to tell you whether she does good on the mission or not. Pick up this book. Excellent. And then, third book, my favorite for right now, Metal Slinger. This was, I think, a 4.75 for me. I read this year. Excellent book. So, B, who is Bryn, has spent the better part of her life waiting for the chance to attend the annual market hosted by the Kenta, of the very same people who exiled the Alaha to live a life overseas. A rite of passage for all young guards. She's not sure what to expect from it, but breaking a century-long peace treaty certainly wasn't on her map. So when they they finally are coming on land to go to this to this market to like trade. It took me a while like a chapter or two to realize, because this is first person POV, so it took me a little bit to realize who was talking in the book. I didn't know whose first person it was. I didn't know. The author did that on purpose. She did that on purpose, setting up that precedent that you might not always know who's talking. This I thought it was one love story. It ended up being like a slow burn, enemies to lovers love story. And like all the twists and turns, and like it was a big twist at the end, and like how everything was set up was excellent. I know some people is either you hate this book or you loved it. To me, I loved it. This is a book that I borrowed. I either read it on Kindle Unlimited or I borrowed it from the library. And before I had finished reading it, I bought it. One of my favorite books. Okay, next. Least favorite books is next. Okay, so my least favorite books on my shelf, I do not have a lot of books that are my least favorite, so I only have two. The first one, And Then She Was Gone. Y'all, I just wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it. I get what it was trying to do, but for me, it just didn't really hit, and I know that that's a really unpopular opinion. It says, no one ever just disappears. Ellie Mack was the perfect daughter, and then she was gone. 10 years after Ellie's disappearance, her mother, Laurel Mack, is trying to put her life back together when she meets an unexpectedly charming man in a cafe. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughter, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Laurel's breath away because the eerily precious Poppy is a splitting image of Ellie. And now the unanswered questions that she tried so hard to put to rest began haunting her anew. I couldn't get into it. Like, it reminds me of The Silent Patient, how that's supposed to be, but like the thriller wasn't getting me, the suspense wasn't getting me. And then when stuff started happening, I just wasn't invested enough in order to be feeling it. Does that make sense? I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. And then The Wife Between Us, y'all, this is a DFN. I didn't finish this book. I didn't like it. It didn't grab me. It didn't grab me. When this book was hot, it was hot. This book was viral hot. And I picked it up just off of the hype. And then I couldn't get into it. I DFN'd. I never finished it. That was a couple of years ago, so maybe I should like pick it back up and I should try again with like the present me. Like, I'm not really sure, but this was a DFN. I wasn't finishing it. I didn't finish it. So these are my two least favorite books in my collection. The next question is love triangles, yes or no? I like a good love triangle. I feel like it has to be written well, right? In order for it to hit. But I love to get into the whole team this person, team that person. I think it's really fun. The most recent book that I just couldn't finish. The Black Kids. Y'all, I couldn't finish this. I started reading this earlier than I did The Wife Between Us, so that's why it's this one and not that one. These are the only two books these two are the only two books on my shelf that are a DFN. It's just I just didn't like it. It didn't at the time. Well, kind of right now too. I am more of a fast-paced reader. I'm fast-paced. I'm action. I'm adventure. I'm thriller. I'm suspense, and that's not this. That's not this, unfortunately. A book that you're currently reading. Oh my gosh, I think it's downstairs in my book bag. I'll pop up a picture. I'm currently reading what's it called? A Beast of War in like the Beast trilogy. So book one is A Beast of Prey. Book two is The Beast of Ruin. And then book 3 is A Beast of War that's downstairs in my school book bag because I took it to work today. And this is the series that I'm currently reading. I'll read the back of the first one to get y'all started. La Cosa was once a city of magic and splendor, but now magic is, this is YA, by the way, if you couldn't tell. But now magic is more than a myth. Until one night, Kofi, an indentured beast keeper at the infamous Night Zoo, unexpectedly unleashes a dangerous, untamed power that has been secretly brewing within her for years. She sets into motion a chilling sequence of events that not only upends her whole world, but also links her to a complicated stranger with secrets of his own. As a warrior in training for the elite Sons of Six, Econ's task is to stop Kofi in her attempt to flee the Night Zoo. Instead, she saves him from the Shatani, the monster who has plagued La Cosa for nearly a century and stalks Elon's nightmares. So, like, it's a dual POV, but it's written in third person. It's a dual POV, but it's written in it's multiple POV because it kind of goes past present to kind of weave through to give you all the context you need. But it follows Kofi and Econ. I hope I'm saying that name right. Y'all, this is a high fantasy, medium to fast pace story that has excellent character development. It really gets you attached to the characters. So I'm not on this one. I'm on book 3. Book 3, I'll pop that up somewhere so you can see what that looks like. Okay. Let's do a couple more. The last book I recommended to someone. Let's check the shelf. So the last book I recommended to someone is, I was at church and the girl who I was serving with was reading Wings of Ebony. And I was like, oh my gosh, I like that book. And I recommended The Ashes of Gold, which is the second book in the series, to her. And like I gave her my copy. This isn't it. I gave her that copy and I just bought another one from my shelf so that she could have the full pair. So this is the most recent book I recommended. The tagline is, after the murder of her mother, Rue was whisked away from her home in East Row and forced to assimilate into her father's home, a country of magic users who are as powerful as gods. But just because a girl leaves East Row doesn't mean it's left her, especially when she discovers a dark secret behind godhood. Magic does not come without a price, and she is the descendant of those who must pay its cost. Rue resolved to right and wrong that keeps her people shackled. I recommended this full series. If you haven't gotten into this, y'all, excellent books. And then we're going to do one more because this is going to be too long. So let's do one more. The newest book that I've read, like publication date wise, it's gotta be, hold on, y'all. Okay, so the books on my shelf that have been published in 2025 I haven't read yet. Like I have Oathbound. Oh, I do have one. The newest book that I've read, Onyx Storm. I have all 3. Can you see the other 2 right here? I have all 3 of them. This right now is the newest book that I read. This is my least favorite book in the series, guys. It was my least favorite book. Onyx Storm and Iron Flame were both 5-star books to me. I think I gave this a 3.5. It's just, maybe it's because it was so long for me reading book 2 in this book, book 3, but I jumped in confused as hell. I didn't understand what was going on, and it took like 10 chapters in order for me to figure it out. One of my past videos, when I was reviewing the series, I reviewed this book, and then I popped up a video of an influencer I watch, Allie Dawson, and I seen her review. She's not a book reviewer though, she's a makeup reviewer who has book content, but I seen her review saying, guys, you're going to be confused, but stick with it. And that's what happened. And I'm glad I seen that. So then I was able to like push through it. Once we got into finding Darna's family, jumping from island to island, that's when I was really engrossed and I loved what happened. And then when we got closer to the end and then the cliffhanger, it kind of left me like, The first and second book, I was itching. For this one, not so much. Yeah, not so much, y'all. I mean, it was good, but it kind of started low and then it peaked and then it went back down for me personally. This is the most recent book that has been published that I've read. So that was it. That was all we have for today. Thank you for sitting here to watch. Remember that I say different things than I write, and I write different things than I say. I will also do this book tag and then write up the blog just below, just like all the other ones. Please comment below. Let me know your answers for these. Let me know if they are real, if they are physical books, if they're in your ebook library, and all that good stuff. I know this was kind of chaotic. I didn't have my script. I don't have my teleprompter. I'm just talking. Do you like this format? Do you prefer more script? Let me know. I'll see you next time.